about their plan to tempt and ruin humanity. The first said, I will tell them there's no God. And the other one said, the devil said, no, that is not going to work. People know there is a God. The second one said, well, I'm going to tell them there's no hell. No, the devil said, most people deep down in their hearts know that there is a hell and a judgment to come. The third one said, but I've got this. He said, I will tell them there's no hurry. Don't worry. Just keep going. Oh, Satan said, my son, he said, you will ruin them by the thousands. Give them plenty of ample time. They'll never get nothing done. That's how procrastination works. It doesn't say, I'm going to do it. That is too final, too absolute. Rather, procrastination says, I'll get around to it later. I always talk about the subjects I myself have to work on. And when I'm doing projects or sermons, you should see the mess that I have everywhere. I have stuff scattered in the basement office. I have stuff scattered upstairs. I'm always looking for something. So I just sit there and finally I just say, you know what? I'm not going to do anything today. I'll look for it tomorrow. Well, tomorrow, getting it done never seems to come because tomorrow I've got other things I could do rather than, oh, it was due in a month. Oh, well, I don't have to worry about it till a week beforehand. No, it's not the way to deal with procrastination. Not at all. Who here can honestly raise their hand and say they have never, ever procrastinated about anything? Can anybody raise their hand? So we're all in the same boat together, aren't we? Some of us, though, do get things done, and I can admire the fact that when the one time that I had done this sermon, it's probably about 10 years ago, and in that time frame, I had asked that exact same question, and this one lady raised her hand. She says, I never procrastinated. I believe her because she always got everything done. She put it in her organization, put it in her phone. She did everything. That's what I want to be able to do. Because by procrastination, what happens to us? We get stressed, we get sick. The closer we get to that deadline, we don't feel good at all. I remember my husband, the one time him and I did a sermon here together at the Center of Enlightenment. And it was on Valentine's Day. And my husband, he likes to do, have his sermon all wrote up, and he'll work on it 2 weeks ahead of time. No, not me. So the week before, he says, what are we going to talk about? What are we going to talk about? And I said, I don't know yet. I'm waiting on my guides. So we got about 3 days in, just before Sunday, and he says, I can't take it. He said, Liz, what are we going to talk about? I says, I haven't heard anything yet from them. Well, actually what happened the night before, I still didn't hear anything. The day of, we stepped up here on the platform and we were doing the sermon. He just looked at me and he says, I can't take this. What are we going to talk about? I said, follow my lead. All of a sudden, I started talking. It turned out, but it's not the way to live. I blamed my guides way too much for it. But the truth is, in his life, he couldn't take that. I can't either, but it happened. And the sermon did turn out okay, but we talked about it all the way home. He says, never, ever will I do a sermon with you. So doing this thing, paying bills or cleaning out the room. Oh my goodness, downstairs I have so much junk to get to the little office space that I got down there. There's boxes of stuff, and my husband keeps bringing boxes, but we're not cleaning anything. The grandkids are not coming over. I could have them clean the stuff up for me, but they're not coming over. How many here have those cards? You know how we get in our birthday things? We'll get the card, it'll go to TJ Maxx and, get a haircut, get a massage. People have given us those gifts. How many of us have used all of those? Or do we have a drawer full of them that we have to go through the computer to find out, is it any good anymore? Well, why are we not taking care of ourselves? Procrastination involves us too. We could use those things to feel good about ourselves. Just do it. Don't wait till the expiration date has hit and then it ends up in the trash. It was someone's good words or someone's gift from their heart to give to us for our well-being. But what did procrastination do? In the trash it went. 2 years later, 3 years later, I had some that were 5 years. Well, we went online, everything's gone because they get to the point they were taking the money out. So I wasted my gifts from others and their goodwill. And how many people have bills? Bills that you let pile up, you put them in boxes or you put them in things, and then you finally look at them all and you find out something in here has been telling you, pay that bill. Oh, that bill's due. Oh, it's the 15th, pay it. But when I looked at it, it was due the 15th. Then what does that affect? That affects my credit. So in procrastination, everything has a cause and effect. Everything does. Feeling good is not part of procrastination because before everything's done, we feel sick, we feel anxious, we wonder why the things are not coming in our mind. Sometimes some of the falling points of procrastination are fear. There's a fear of the project that we're facing. There's a fear we're not going to understand it. So we put it away. We don't do it. Also perfectionism. That has to do with procrastination. We try to be too perfect and we reworked our things. We try to get everything organized, put it together, and it falls apart. It doesn't hit the mark with us. So perfectionism is a downfall. It's us trying to be too perfect. The other thing is we don't want to do the project, really. We said, yes, I'll do it. But do we really want to do it? No. So we're caught in a bind. We can't tell the person no. So we try to cram everything together, whatever it is, if it's a charity event or if it's putting together a party. If you can't do it, don't put your hand up. Don't say, yes, I'll do it. If they ask you, politely learn to say no. No is part of saving yourself from this if you know you have procrastination. The other thing is you don't like the project, period. You just can't get the information going. I know myself when I'm working on projects and that, it feels to me that nothing is coming in this mind. Nothing. And then all of a sudden, I do a lot of meditation. So for me, if I go meditate and I do talk to my guides, I will ask about the project. I might not get the answer that day, but it's also like a window that opens for me. And it's like, oh, do this, do that, do this. Does it happen right away? No. But as long as I talk to my guides and get that aha moment within myself, and I'm sure every one of you have had that aha moment. All of a sudden it just connects and it clicks and you can get that project done and you can go on with that. Stress is a big factor in this. Stress just destroys us, our stomach, our whole being. It makes us sick. And the part about procrastination is that if you are prone to that, you will have stress from it. You will not get things done. I have procrastinated on many things in my life, all the way back to a certain year. I mean, they are coming back in fashion, is another thing I can say. My mini dresses. The only problem is that when I wore those mini dresses, I was 106 in pounds. Now, somehow, it goes 160. It doesn't work out the way it is. Why am I holding on to this? Maybe they're in fashion for my granddaughter, but no one's my size. So Why am I holding on to the fringe jacket from the 70s? Why am I holding on to old records? Well, they are worth money, I hear. Procrastination has buried me for all of the years that I have lived, and I'm sure I have a trevy of things there. Another interesting thing I've found too is in our neighborhood, it's a more older neighborhood, and it's kind of sad when you look around and you see those big trailers like in the driveway, those things that they start tossing the memories and the things of people who lived there when the elderly have passed. It brings a sadness to me because how much of that stuff that is placed in those trailers out there, those open bins, have they procrastinated about? Or they didn't give out the pictures that they should have of memories and that, and somebody else doesn't care. They just throw them out. I don't want to be one of those that all my memories and all the good, my husband says, good junk, end up in that bin. And another thing about working with spirit is that in spirit, those that we love who have passed over, many times I hear from them about the things they procrastinated about. And I mean, they do pray on the other side. Please bring my granddaughter in or my son to get a reading, the one grandson in the living. When they come, the first thing that spirit has learned on the other side is that by their procrastination of saying to that loved one, I did love you. I do love you. I took it for granted you understood. I let it go. It was hard for me to say it. I wasn't brought up that way. But by procrastination, this living person has hurt. They have pain. And when that loved one comes through in spirit and says, I really, really did and do love you, the amazement, it ends that procrastination. It has stopped that procrastination on the spirit side. They have now faced their fears, maybe not saying things, and now they share those words that that loved one can let go. Because in procrastination, we think it's all just our journey. It's not. It's in our loved ones, our families, the things that we should be speaking or saying. And then on the opposite side of the coin, it's the ones in the living who have the opportunity, now knowing that spirit can be the bigger person and can help them, that we take a few minutes and think of the people that are in our lives that we've let go or procrastinated on. Being the bigger person, we can unbury them of burdens or guilt too. A lot of people feel the guilt of my mom, my dad, my brother, they passed and I wasn't there. Was it procrastination? In some cases it was. It's because it was a scene they didn't want to see. But it doesn't matter. Simply saying a word of I love you erases a lot of that procrastination word. We're not waiting till tomorrow. We're not waiting till someone passes to have the courage to tell them, I love you. You meant something to me. I didn't understand you, but I want to know you better. We can do all of that. So procrastination is much more than just us having too much or forgetting to do things. When we work with spirit, and spirit works with us, we can erase the guilts and the pains slowly in some cases and immediately in others. So start thinking about the things in your life that you might feel buried with or just need to get past. You can do that. Don't be a wimpy that you're going to pay me Tuesday for a hamburger today. Go for it now. Be proactive. Be that loving being. You can do it. Start meditating if you choose. That's a whole new subject. But start meditating and start thinking about the ones who have passed. We always don't have to wait for a medium to be in between. We can do a little footwork on our own. And believe what you hear in here. That's the difference, is believing in ourselves and knowing that procrastination isn't going to be part of that. So if you have mounds of paper, my biggest thing is paper. I even have a little picture of my face with paper all around me. Paper. Organize something at least 5 minutes a day. It's hard. I haven't done it yet. But if you can look at your stuff and start figuring out every day, you have 365 days a year. What can you accomplish? 5 minutes. 365 days. You could clean your basement. You could organize your bills. You could write your sermon. You could have everything ready to go. So come alongside me on my boat, which is we're going to take that procrastination word out and we're going to say, I can do it. We're going to make it happen and we can do it. So there's a spot with you on my boat. We're ready to go forward with it.
Just remember to take the trailer off first.
Yes, we have to take the trailer off first.
That's right.
That is part of procrastination.
That really happened to somebody. It really happened.
So in closing, I have a little poem that I would like to share with each one of you. And it says, the first step. To take the first step is a frightening thing. To face the unknown, the uncertainty it brings. But like the child who is tired of the crawl, the first step is the most important of all. It expands your horizons. You can see a new light. The joy of discovery is like taking flight. The first step you take will open all doors to see yourself as you've seen before. And like the child who gives it its all, sometimes he falters. He will teeter and fall. But strong arms are there to catch him, and then they stand him back up to start walking again. The longest journey takes one step at a time. Remember, 365 days. But once you get going, you'll do just fine. Take my hand, friend. I'll help you along. I'll be right beside you, as two will be strong. Yes, that first step's a big one, the most important of all, but I'll be there to catch you, should you teeter and fall. We'll set our sights forward, grit our teeth and walk on. When we see that road ending, we'll break in a run. I love you, I'll help you, all the way through, but to take that first step, well, that's up to you. And this poem is by Robana Turner Garden. So take my love, don't take my procrastination, but go forward and think of ways that you can work with spirit, that you can work in your life, and mark them down in your calendar. 365 days. God bless.
Thank you so much.